I'm just gonna go ahead and make sauerkraut. This is purple cabbage, red cabbage. So this is a process around like an hour or so. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this up. I had extra cabbage, so that this is gonna be my lid to make everything all fresh, and I'm gonna show it to you in a little bit. And also during the process, after this one's all cut, I'm gonna use Himalayan salt so that it's gonna be all in the bowl, and I'm gonna crush it up, smudge it, and wait until everything gets all liquefied. I'll show you in a minute. All right, so I cut them up. I'm gonna cut the half of this. I'm just gonna keep on slicing it. But what I do, I like taking this off, but before I do that, I'll cut this in half. Because this is already half, so I'm gonna cut it again in half. So I like cutting this part right here, so that this one will not, kind of interfere with all the process while I'm, crushing it in this bowl right here. So let me get back to you in a bit. One thing I want to show you is the final process. This has been fermented for about 2 months, going for more until the end of this year. But this is how it looks right now. And that's how that all process goes. Cut this, slice this up, put this in a bowl, and just start smushing using Himalayan salt or whatever salt, sea salt, whatever you prefer. And I'm gonna go ahead, cut this really quick and show you really how I really cut them. So I just do this, cut them in half, and then I keep chopping it until it's fine, diced. So let's get back to this in a bit. All right, so here is the first layer. So I'm gonna put some Himalayan salt on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you really quick what I do. I'm not gonna do this. So I like to grind them up. Oh, you can see that. There you go. I like to put a lot. So this is the first layer. Because right when you crush it, you're gonna start smushing it all over, and you want to get all the salt right into the fibers of these the vegetables or whatever you're gonna ferment. So preferably I'm fermenting red cabbage, purple cabbage, however you would like to say it, and I'm gonna keep smushing it so that it could be fine and all over the vegetable, so that it could get all the juice out, because we need that juice, that liquid, to ferment, so that it won't be dry throughout the months or days or weeks or that you want to ferment it. Because the longer you ferment it, the better the probiotics. So you need that good gut bacteria, that good bacteria. And this good bacteria is helping us to, sustain our boost our immune system to make yourself healthy. And I'll go a little bit more in depth into a couple minutes. Let's get back to this. The second layer, I'm gonna go ahead and put some Himalayan salt, sea salt, however you want to put, whatever you want to put, just make sure it's salt. And then I'll just grind this all up. It's very tedious, so I like to just grind it for at least 30 minutes to an hour. So it's gonna be crushing it for a whole 30 minutes until this gets all liquefied, because you need to start seeing all the liquid coming out. I'm going to show you that in a bit. I'm going to go ahead and smush this. More the liquid there. So the more I'm doing this, the more liquid starts coming out. So I'm pulling out all the liquid from the salt and the cabbage. very tedious, but it's also a workout too. So to know when it's done, I like to just, make sure everything's all soft, and also make sure there's more liquid. Even though that's not enough, but when you put it in a mason jar, it's gonna show it's a lot. But yeah, so this took about like 30 to 45 minutes or an hour, depending. And for the mason jars, you want to make sure you clean it, because once you put it in there and it's not thoroughly clean, it's gonna build up like mold and all these gunks. So you want to make sure you clean this. So with the remaining lettuce that I peeled out in the beginning, I'm gonna make a cut so it could be, just like so. Just cut it right around the edge of that circle, and I'm gonna show you. So I'm just gonna go indirectly into this, so that once I fill this up, right above here, because there's gonna be liquid and I don't want it to overfill, so I'm gonna fill it right around there. And this is gonna be the lid for it, so that it'll keep it fresh. So here's a process of filling the mason jars, or any jar that you have. Just make sure you're sterilizing it, cleaning it, clean your utensils that you're using, your tools, knives, spoon. Because what I'm doing right here, I'm compressing everything so that the liquid will come out. So you notice that when you put it in the mason jar, there are bubbles, air pockets. So you want to take those air pockets, bring it up to the surface. By doing that, let me do it. This is how it looks like during the process, but this is the fresh batch I'm going to put right in right now. So it's all in there, and so you want to compact it so that all the liquid will be around it, so it could be fresh throughout the months, throughout the weeks that you're fermenting it. So I have a plastic bag, and this, whatever you have anything to compress it, anything that you want. So this is from like a salsa grinder, so I like to press it against. So you notice how I'm pressing that. So you notice how the bubbles are rising up over layers and layers. You're gonna notice how it's gonna it becomes like this. So I'm just gonna keep on pressing it. So I'm also bringing out more liquid from it, because you know how the salt's in there, as well as there are water retentions in the vegetable, in the cabbage. So I want to get it as much as confined like this and compressed. Here, I'll show it to you real quick. The bubbles are rising up. I'm gonna add more. And here how the liquid, that's all from the vegetables and the salt. I'm just gonna put it right in there really quick. Yeah, this is very tedious, but the benefits are amazing. It helps you so much to build up your immune system, especially when you start getting sick. If you ever do, and it's unlikely because you're bringing up your health, you're raising up your vibration, your well-being. So I'm just compressing it. You can see that right there. So I'm just gonna go ahead along, compress it. See how the bubbles are coming out, especially here. like this is very tiring, but you know, it's building your grip, your strength, because you're using your hands. But you know, it could, if you have arthritis, I would not recommend this. You could probably use your feet or something, but make sure everything's all clean. Or they also have it from the store, but this is such a best way because you know what you're putting in here. This is what I love doing stuff, and because I could see what I'm putting in, the difference, you know, in contrast to, you know, getting from the store. How does it taste? Like, I love homemade stuff because you know what's in there, especially to someone that you really trust and would buy from. This is why I love when you support locals, like local grocery stores, local businesses, because you know what they do and you know you have that connection with them. But in the meantime, like if you don't want to buy sauerkraut, you can always make it. It doesn't have to be red cabbage. It could be like, you know, you could put ginger, cabbage, or red cabbage, or you could put carrots, you could put onions, put napa cabbage, mustard leaves. Yeah, I think I only need 2 more mason jars. I mean, this is about it, but I'm not gonna overfill it. So every layer, I like to put at least like 2-4 scoops in here of a spoon and press it down, because you know it's a lot easier to take out the air sockets, the air sacs. You notice how, you know, I guess the first time I did it wasn't very good. Like there was a lot of build up, a lot of fungus coming in, a lot of distorted colors. You know, you notice if it's gonna be distorted because it's gonna be all like light pink, and you start seeing the fungus around it. You know, that's what you don't want to eat. It should look something like this. And every week I like to check it out and check it in. You know, do the same process as well, do this. But I'll show you on another clip right after this. And believe it or not, I give this to my dog. You know, every time she has, you know, her lunchtime, her breakfast, I'll put this in her food. It's a good source of probiotics. They're a good source of probiotics. The longer you hold it out to ferment, the better in probiotics. It gets strong. You know, you're building up that good bacteria. That's about it. I'm not gonna fill it all the way up. So I made a cut like so, and I'm gonna put it right in here. I'm gonna have a thicker one. This is a lot thicker. So I put it right in there. And I'm not gonna use my hands. I'm gonna use like a utensil or a spoon, you know, and just push it down there. Make sure you're not like, you know, something flat, so that you're not gonna make a cut and insert through it. This is gonna act like a lid. And then what I love to do is to do this really quick one. Have plastic bags. I'm gonna clean this out. Like with these plastic bags, you're gonna put it in, but be mindful that if you overfill it, it's just gonna pour out. So try to put a little bit depending on your mason jar, or depending how much you're putting in. So this could be perfect. I'm just gonna put it right there. And also the best part is that you can use your hands now, because you have that, you know, that barrier. So like compressing it. Look at all that liquid. This is actually like my 6th time doing this. This time it's pretty much more better. There. And right there, I'm just gonna do like so. I'm also gonna mark the date for today. So it is November 5th. I'm gonna write that right over there. That's November 5th, 2021. Seal that up, and it's ready to be stored. You know, in the winter time, you know, you don't really have to look at it as much and you know, keep track. But oftentimes every week or every 3 days, especially in the summer, if it's the summer, you want to look at it constantly, like every 4 days, and 2 or 4 days, 3 or 5 days, and you want to make sure that there's no discoloration, or if there's any notice that like it's very dry, you want to compress it. But be mindful not to use your hands, or you know, just clean your hands thoroughly and use a plastic bag, what I did, and just compress it with your hands. That would help a lot to, you know, maintain its freshness. So I'm gonna go ahead and do it on this one really quick.
This one's about 4 months old into the fermenting stage, and I have not been looking at this until that today. And so I decided to check it out, inspect it, and I noticed that there's some discoloration on the top. And it's nothing too serious, because if you notice that any fungus that comes up, that's really a red flag. And as you notice on this process, I'm filling it up by decompressing it, making sure everything's sterilized. I threw out that tissue that was already built up, and as you can see, I used and cleaned up a new plastic bag and made sure I sterilized that as well. And I'm just decompressing it, and notice how there's liquids just coming up. It's coming from the cabbage. And this is so important, because every 2 days or every week, you know, we must inspect it and see if it needs to be compressed and needs some, you know, caring. And so right now I'm just doing everything again, getting some new paper towels, and use the mason jar lid to cover that up. And I inspect it thoroughly, make sure there's no fungus, and you know, the color is light but not too bright where it looks like there's fungus building up. And this part is pretty good. I'm so thankful that this is this was a lot better than before. And over here I'm really just cleaning everything up, just, you know, cleaning up the station. Just, it's such a messy work, but you know, these are such a great way to build up our immune system, to strengthen up our immune system, to have the good probiotics. And this is a new batch. Over time, it's gonna look like the one that I made 4 months ago. And you know, these are pretty fun to make, even though it gets very tedious and tiring. After, you just feel so accomplished, just, you know, knowing that you made something and knowing that this is for a better cause. And this is such a good thing to make. And there's so much information about sauerkraut. I highly recommend you to Google it, search it on the search engine about sauerkraut and the probiotics, how it can help, because this is pretty amazing. Hope you love this video. If you guys love it, give it a thumbs up. If you have any comments, let me know. And hope you guys have an amazing day. Peace, live. Peace.